Welcome. Even during these unusual times, Bracken Co Cattlemen's Association is still working through to provide the most for our members. On October 8th, we welcome you to the Bracken County Extension Office from 5 to 7 p.m. for a drive-through membership meeting. We'll have 3 different stops. The first stop will be to renew your dues. The second stop will be to pick up a goodie bag sponsored by Farm Credit and Hinton Mills, along with a meal to go sponsored by our 2 local businesses. And then we will also be having different materials in the goodie bags from KCA, Extension, and our sponsors to help take home and use for your convenience. We would like to welcome you all out. Even though this is going to be a drive-through deal because of COVID-19, we still hope to see you out. Our different members will be here. We will be wearing masks and social distancing, and we also ask that you stay in your vehicles per the local health guidelines. A few things I'd like to mention that are going on with KCA right now that are some highlights that are helping you as producers. We will be hearing from Nikki Whitaker later on, and she will also provide some details. But some things I would like to highlight is that 28,000 pounds of Kentucky Proud, or the Beef Solutions hamburger, was donated by Kentucky Farm Bureau to local food banks. And also, things that we've talked about in previous meetings is the ELD, the electronic logging device for our truckers. That has been extended to the end of the year, which is great. If anybody, if you pay attention to anything, we ship our cattle to the stockyards. Where do they go from there? They've got to go out west to the feedlots, and our truckers just can't stop every so little bit when they have live animals on the truck. Ag Development has also partnered with KCA to provide grants for processing facilities. So this would be a great way for some of our producers or the ones that are already up and running to make their facility bigger and better or start from scratch. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to David Appleman, Bracken County Extension Agent, KCA office in Lexington, or myself, Nicole Goki, President of the Bracken County Cattlemen's Association, or any members. If you see out and about, if you see somebody in a Bracken County Cattlemen's hat or t-shirt, feel free to stop by and ask them what's going on. We invite you to come out October 8th, 5 to 7 p.m. We welcome any and all. Come check it out and see what KCA is doing for you, and also Bracken County Cattlemen's Association.
Well, hello. We're here out in the Berlin community with Bart Hamilton. Bart is installing some tire waters to help get his pasture more accessible to his cattle. Bart, just tell us a little bit about your idea here and why you've chosen the tire waters to instead of something more commercial.
Well, I just saw these from a friend of mine, and I just really like the look of them and the cost, and almost indestructible. It looked to me like, he has some issues with it in the wintertime with some ice on the top, just kind of bumps the sides and throws the ice off, and the cost of it. The other ones I have trouble with them freezing up, the balls freezing to the top, and, a lot more cows can get around this, and about $350. Otherwise, of the cost that you would have with any of them, the water itself with everything only cost me about $350 for everything. And I just like the space where all the cows can get around it. You know what I mean? Or 2 can drink out of 1 ball water, but about 15 probably can get around one of these.
Well, great. And we've seen that you got the construction started here, the supply line coming in. Yeah, I've noticed you've really put a large area of rock around here. I think that's important. And I see you've got filter fabric under it as well. So hopefully we won't be getting any of those large deep holes around the water that you see in other places. You might just mention what you've got here and what your plans are for this.
Well, it's got the good filter fabric under it. It works a lot better than the woven kind, the solid black. And this is actually just waste from the mine that was free. You just have to pay the hauling charge. But if you get it good and dry and you get enough on it, thick enough, and then I'll dress up around it and run a walk-behind plate compactor. And it really packs it tight, and it's a low cost, and it works really well and holds up pretty good.
Good. And we want to show folks what you're talking about with the tire water. It's a big commercial tire, and you've cut the top out. You want to tell folks how you were able to do that?
It wasn't nearly as hard as I thought it was going to be. I got a couple holes drilled in one spot and got a Sawzall. It takes a real good coarse blade. And once I got it started, my daughter kept a spud bar in it. She helped me, and just the 2 of us did 3 of them in about an hour and a half. Once she would hold the spud bar down and keep pressure up off the rubber from pinching the blade, and I went around this one here in about 15 to 20 minutes.
And tell us about your plans for actually getting the tire sealed. And so what are you going to do to achieve that?
Well, I'm getting all this from a friend of mine who's done it and helped me a lot along the way, helped me get the tires and everything as well. But he's got 5 of these in, and my plans originally was to get a concrete truck in here, and I saw the cost of it and how much it would be. And all he did was take about 10 bags of Saccrete and really tamp it really, really tight all the way around the center bead and fill that all the way up, put the Jove valve in the middle, and runs the water with a hose off to the side where it's not washing your dry concrete out. Lets it fill up, waits about 3 or 4 days, and it swells in there and seals that bead far better than I ever dreamed it would. But it works, and it's pretty cost effective. 8 or 10 bags of Saccrete as opposed to getting a concrete truck out here with minimum charges.
Oh, fantastic. And, you're installing these throughout your pasture. How many additional acres are you going to be able to utilize having the water in close proximity to the fields?
Well, 10 acres was almost useless where there was no water. They wouldn't go. Nothing grew but goldenrod because they would never go back there and eat for about 3 or 4 months of the year when it was dry. But all these places that I have been grazing, I've been using temporary waters off a garden hose, and it's just been a nightmare. Actually, it's been way more work than it was moving an electric fence, just going with the water. And having these permanent in spots here that I can get to about 3 or 4 different pastures is going to make it a whole lot more time effective for me, a whole lot better.
Well, great. Well, this is just an example of some options we've got when it comes to improving our pasture utilization. And, the Eden Shale Farm, they've done a lot of work with this and the Kentucky Beef Network. And we encourage people to go and watch those videos. And you can learn more about water options for our farms and ways to better utilize our pasture. Okay, Bart, you've been involved with the IRM, or the Integrated Reproductive Management Program with UK now, for about 4 years. Has that been beneficial for you?
Yeah, it's. I remember the meeting I went to in Fleming County when they were asking for producers who had a year-round calving window and wanted to do a little better, and I think I was the ideal candidate because I had a mess of calving, and I think that's why they liked it. But anyway, it's been great for me. I wouldn't, I'll do this every year, even though I think this is the last year of it. But I've learned a lot. You, Ben Christ, Dr. Anderson, helped a bunch, and I don't know, I've managed things a whole lot better. I didn't manage anything before. I didn't keep any records. I didn't know what they were doing. They were just kind of, cows ate the hillsides down, and I'd get them up, whatever I had, a couple times a year and sell some calves. And, I thought it was working, but it's a whole lot better now for me. I like it.
Well, I think when we started, you were looking at about 7 months that you had a group of calves in. And the last couple of years, what are we down to now as far as your calving window?
I think last year was 48 days. The year before that, 54. It makes it so much nicer to, even knowing I've started where I'm tagging them right with at birth and banding everything at birth. I see a difference in that. It's just easier on me, the calves. And then I know exactly what calf goes with a cow, and just keeping the records has helped me a tremendous amount. And I didn't keep any records, and I guess UK, part of the program was them wanting me to keep the records. I had to do that to continue. And I guess when I was forced to, after I could see the results of it, it really made a big difference for me. Now I kind of enjoy keeping the records. I had cows that I thought were beautiful and cows that I thought were little old runts. And then I see the calf that weans off each one and the size of the animal and the calf. It made culling cows a whole lot easier. Everything a lot better. Just because it was pretty, it didn't, it ate a lot more and weaned a 10-pound less calf that was a month older than some of the other ones.
Yeah, we brought the scales out here, and I think that was a kind of an eye-opener for you.
Yeah.
You see the receipt at stockyards for the group, but then when you started measuring each individual calf, and you may not have known it was the smallest calf, but it kind of, once we got those numbers, it helped with making some decisions.
Even weighing a few cows. Most people, myself, I didn't know what my cows weighed. Everybody thinks their cows weigh 1,250 pounds. I got some that weigh 1,000, and I got some that weigh 1,800 or had. And there is a difference. An 1,700 pound cow wean a 480 pound calf, and a 1,100 pound cow wean one 550. And it happened. I wouldn't have believed it, but I can see it now.
You've also been working on some grazing. We saw the water tanks earlier, and that's how that's going to help you. But you're focusing now on trying to feed a little less hay or graze them longer in the season. You want to touch on that a little bit?
4 or 5 years ago, I got so frustrated because every time I mow hay, it rains. I feel like it's rained here for 5 years, and I thought there's got to be something better. And I'm the person who loves to mow hay. Like, that's my idea of heaven. I'll mow alfalfa every day. But I think a cow she'll eat it in the rain, and she can feed herself. She can mow it, ted it, rake it, bale it, spread the manure when she's done, and store it. And I still bale hay. I still try to put up some, but last year, even with the drought, I was able to graze up to about January 1st. And even after that, I fed some when it was horrible mud, and it is hard to manage. You get a little dry time, the ground doesn't freeze very much, and I've chewed up some pastures. I have, and I don't like it, but the cows did 1,000 times better the farther they are away from manure, and even the stock pads are handy, but I don't think 90 days of feeding on a stock pad even is ideal conditions, and last year I was able to graze a whole lot longer, fed half as much hay probably as I had 4 years ago, and had the best weaning weights that I've ever had. Calves weren't covered in mud, cows weren't standing in mud knee deep, and even with the pads, you got a lot of spread manure, and what little bit of manure I had this year, I just filled in some ditches with. I didn't spread any manure.
Excellent. Just to touch back on the IRM program, as we said, the cost share and the assistance, you've been through that for a number of years now, and probably won't have that again this year. But are you willing to continue with running the cows through the chute 3 times with the seeders and the shots to set them up, and then do the AI?
Yeah, I will. I'll do it from now on. I think lets me use bulls that I could never afford, and I get some really nice high quality calves out of, like I say, a bull I could never afford, and I know the difference. It lets me see the difference when I know that last calf of the window. I wait 10 days, turn in a cleanup bull that I just rent for about 60 days, and that's worked great too. I don't own a bull. I get one in and out of here. All I'm looking for is a calving ease bull that, will clean up the rest. We've been getting between 50 and 60% of them anyway with the AI, and I kind of enjoy working with them. And the first year I ran them through the chute, and it was a nightmare. I thought, I don't know if I'll ever do this again. But once you get your cows culled down to the more tame ones, and they actually go through the chute about 5 times a year, they pretty well know now. It's not hard. It's not it's become more easy, far more easy on me, the cows, everything. It's just the kind of routine they kind of know, and it's not that bad. And I don't know, I'll definitely do it. It's a lot more beneficial for me.
Well, I know one thing, it's been great working with you with the iron program, and we hope to continue to help you the best we can with any kind of decisions when it comes to keeping the tight calving window and making management easier for you. And we want to thank you for visiting with us today. And we welcome folks that are interested in doing the same thing on their own farm. Extension will be glad to work with you and try to help get that calving window tighter so you can get a more uniform group of calves and get those market advantages along with improved management opportunities. Well, we're here on the Bennell farm visiting with David Bennell, and he is working on establishing some more productive pasture on some of his fields. And he visited with us here a few weeks ago about varieties and options, looking at what he could plant that's still going to perform well and help hold these Bracken County hillsides. So, David, tell us what you kind of decided on.
Well, we decided on some novel endophyte fescue that you had recommended. So I've used a lot of that here, and we've sowed the wheat to help hold the ground in the beginning, to keep it from washing out. And then we put a little clover in with it, and I sowed a little timothy with it, kind of trying to get a variety. We want to do a little better with our pasture management. So another thing we're going to set up is we're going to fence off different sections of the farm and let this grow and let the other rest and keep this in a rotation from now on.
Well, that sounds excellent. Well, we know the novel endophyte, for those of you that are just being introduced to this variety, still has the growth and persistency characteristics of the old Kentucky 31, but it doesn't have the toxic effect. As we know, the Kentucky 31 causes increase in body temperature due to the fungus that is in the plant. And that fungus, though, gives Kentucky 31 those persistency characteristics. It's going to take a beating and still come back. With this novel endophyte, it has a endophyte that gives it the growth characteristics, but it's a non-toxic endophyte, so it doesn't affect animal performance. And so we're hoping that we can get that established here on this hill, and animals will be able to graze without those negative effects of increased body temperature. So hopefully that's going to be beneficial. And with the ability to do some pasture management and different grazings, I think they're going to benefit tremendously from this. Anything else you want to say about the seed? What was the cost?
The cost was a whole lot cheaper than what the endophyte free fescue was, as far as the novel endophyte compared to the, it was less than a quarter. I mean, it was around $1 a pound compared to, or a little bit over $1 a pound compared to around $4 a pound. And those are just rough estimates, but that's a big difference between an endophyte free and a novel endophyte.
I think that's one reason folks have been shy for many years about investing in the seed cost, because we were looking at the $4 or $5 a pound for the Max Q, which was one of the early varieties that came out, and now those costs have come down, and it's less than orchard grass when we look at forage varieties. And of course, orchard grass makes excellent hay, but many times in a pasture, unless we manage it, and we're not going to get the stand life out of orchard grass in a pasture situation. So, this new forage, this new novel endophyte fescue, is going to give us a lot of opportunities. And I think as Dave's doing here, he's not seeding the whole farm. He's had an opportunity with this cleared land to seed it down, but and that's what we want, is we want folks to look at a field that you can rotate with, and maybe seed in and graze those animals when we are seeing stress, such as the hot part of the summer, or maybe when we're breeding the herd. Get those on that novel fescue prior to and right after breeding season, and we can see some improvements in our reproductive efficiencies. So we thank you for allowing us to come out here today. Anything else you want to mention as far as cattlemen's? You've been a member for a long time. Have you gained from membership with some of the benefits?
I have, just being able to meet different people and know what's available out there. I thought everything was on a, basis where you had to go hunt for everything, because there's so much going on, throughout the year with the farm.
Excellent. Well, again, thank you for letting us come out today and see your farm, and hopefully you get a little shower of rain on here. We don't need a lot, but to get a little shower of rain and get the rest of these grasses up and get a good cover on this field.
No kidding. Well, thank you.
Hello from Mason County. We're located here on my farm outside of Lewisburg, and wanted to show you the black vulture effigy. Now, a lot of folks are aware of the problems we got with black vultures. They have attacked our cattle, especially during the birthing process, and killed calves. We've had many losses throughout the years, and this problem hasn't gone away. Now, we understand a lot of people will try to protect their animals through various means, but I tell farmers too, you can't be there 24/7. And so the idea of having an effigy is to scare the vultures away. And black vultures, they have very keen eyesight. They're different than the turkey vultures, which rely on smell to find their prey. And that's the reason these effigies work, because they come in and they'll see what appears to be a black vulture in distress, and they'll avoid the area. Unlike turkey vultures, which may even still come to your farm, they don't have the eyesight like the black vultures do. They rely more on smell to find their prey or their target, dead animals. For black vultures, they have attacked our calves, especially during the birthing process, and that's why we want to have this effigy up. It's going to help protect your farm when you're not there, and hopefully keep the black vultures away. This one is made from a rubber mat, and we've got the pattern available to you at the extension office, and you can cut it out. It says in the instructions to use a stall mat. We found that the stall mats, they don't have the reinforcement that a lot of things normally do, and they tend to break. And so we would recommend you probably use a rubber belt if you can find some old used belting, and that would give you something that's going to last for years and years. It does take some management. You need to move it occasionally from place to place, but what you're looking for is what we have here, a very high location on your farm, a place that can be seen from most of your fields, and especially for what we've got our calving pasture over here, and so this is perfect with this big open tree, big dead tree, very easy to see the black vulture from most of the farm area. But you want to get it up high, and as you can see, there's a little bit of a challenge. You may have to throw once or twice to get a rope up over there, but as long as they can see the vulture, it'll still work. Another thing we want to remind folks about is the permit process for protecting your livestock. We're very fortunate because these birds are protected on the endangered species list. They're on the migratory bird list, not the endangered species, because there's 20 million of them in this country. But it's the migratory bird list that does give them the protected status. But through Farm Bureau, we can get a permit that allows you to take up to 3 birds and to protect your farm. Now, another thing you can do if you are in need, or you do take a bird to protect your livestock, you can take that same bird and hang it upside down and do the same thing we're doing with this effigy. And that, again, that dead bird will help protect your farm by keeping the birds away. So as we're right in the middle of fall calving season, we want to be on the lookout for the black vultures. If you're a spring calver, you've got a winter project here building your effigy, and we encourage you to start thinking about that now. It is a little bit of a challenge to go through, cut this out, and put it together. But if it saves 2 or 3 calves, it's well worth it. And we're hoping that folks can utilize this on the farm along with the permit process. A couple other things we want to remind you. if you're getting ready to market your calves or wean your calves, we encourage you to look at weighing those calves. So we've got the scale at the extension office. We'll be glad to help you with that. It's free, and I will come out and help you weigh your calves. We also have the new cattle chute, and that is a rental shared use equipment piece, and it's absolutely very beneficial when it comes to working your cattle, and that's available as well. And we just ask if there's anything that Cattlemen can help you with, or the extension office, give us a call and we'll be glad to help any way we can during this challenging time. But thanks for joining us tonight, and we look forward to having you come and join us at our drive-through annual meeting on October the 8th from 5 to 7. Thanks again.